RDF spokesperson Brigadier General Ronald Rwanda emphasized the significant achievements made over the past 20 years since Rwanda began participating in global peacekeeping missions. He highlighted that these successes are a testament to Rwanda's commitment to security and affirmed that the Rwanda Defence Force possesses the capacity to ensure the safety and security of all Rwandans. He reiterated this in an exclusive interview with our colleague Adam Squizera. Take a look.
First of all, the RDF is, I think, Rwanda and RDF are probably the only country in the world that is legally mandated in its roles, key roles, to participate in peacekeeping operations around the world. And so this is a decision that we made in 2004. 20 years ago, to participate in peacekeeping operations in different parts of the continent and beyond. Currently, we have deployed, from the time we started, approximately 82,000 soldiers in peacekeeping operations. We were the first peacekeeping force to deploy in Darfur in 2004 with about 155 troops in Rwanda Koi 1. Then we later on expanded that deployment to cover, a wide area. It was initially UNAMID. It was AMIS, then it became UNAMID in 2007. So we moved from 155 troops and we expanded to approximately 5,475 in Darfur alone. We went on to deploy in 2011 in South Sudan, where we had our, forces deploying with different tasks actually. Those forces were deployed in different sectors, in Juba, in Torit, and Marrakech. And we deployed quite a sizable number, 2,582. And police deployed 411. So our forces have been involved in maintaining security in these areas. And we divide our forces in several units. We have the Rwanda Aviation Unit that is deployed in Juba and Marrakech, whose role is to basically support in the transportation of UN peacekeeping forces, as well as providing evacuation of casualties and several, other roles. Then our land forces are involved in protecting civilians in IDP camps. That is the primary role, and I think we need to emphasize that because that is very critical. So our forces are involved in protecting IDPs in Juba, Marrakech, and Torit, and also involved activities that improve the security, human security, because that's very, very important. And that is a new, it's a concept that we adopted. We do not just seek to protect people. We actually go beyond that, and we ensure human security wherever we operate.
We are talking about this 10 years of peacekeeping missions on the sides of RDF. It's 20 years those are the operations that began right after very few years after the genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda. It is understandable that the wounds were still fresh. The country was trying its best to rebuild itself. But how did RDF manage this and think that it is possible for them to start such missions of peacekeeping?
That's a good question. First of all, the vigilance with which we operate is recognizable, and that's the reason why every year our numbers are increased. And the proof is basically in the pudding because we've operated in Central African Republic. However, of course, wherever we have gaps, luckily, we were allowed by the Central African Republic to bring in troops so that we have a more offensive posture. Because initially, the UN peacekeeping force has weaknesses within its mandate where they cannot respond to the threat, especially when civilians are under threat. So what we have done, we have become more vigilant, but with limitations. Okay? That's one of the things we have done. However, we have also gone beyond that. We feel that in order to solve socio-economic problems, because that's usually the basis from which conflict emerges, we have to deal with human security issues. So our forces, wherever we deploy, it's a practice that we will be involved in human security activities. We shall help the community in terms of offering medical services where we can. We'll be able to, protect main supply routes that come with critical goods that are supposed to serve the society. For instance, in Central African Republic, we protect the MSR, the main supply route from Douala to Bangui. So you see, that is a lifeline of a city. So we have adopted that approach where we really have to look at the center of gravity, the center of survival of a community, and we deal with that.
You talked about bilateral forces between the countries, and in 2021 we've seen starting such operations in countries like Mozambique. How productive were it?
Bilateral interventions have really proved to be very effective in dealing with the problem. In Mozambique, for instance, maybe I should start with Central African Republic because it was actually the basis for which Mozambique may have requested for us to, support them. So in Central African Republic, you remember that the faction of President Bozizé, the CPC, overran many towns, nearly capturing Bangui, while the UN was there. We are the highest troop contributing country in the UN peacekeeping force. But we felt threatened because of that mandate, you see. So luckily the president of Central African Republic requested us to, to support by sending a bilateral force. So when we brought the force, it was able to halt the advance of the CPC and President Bozizé's factions, who wanted to topple the government and, to basically fight with peacekeepers. And so we managed to successfully halt the advance of Bozizé and actually even flush him out. And we reinstated the main supply route from Bangui to Douala. And we brought sanity. Now in Mozambique in 2021, Ansar al-Sunna wa Jamaa, a terrorist organization, had been there for 4 years, had killed over 3,000 people, displaced over 800,000 in Palma, Mosimbo de Praia, and several other, towns and cities in Cabo Delgado.
Like for Rwandan, hearing that, it's very nice, and that's very great information. But in several days, we literally hear some speeches of some officials around this region stating that they, at any time, they want to destabilize Rwanda. How can you assure Rwandans specifically that their security and peace are guaranteed?
I can only say one thing that I've already said anyway, that we cannot be involved in 6 or 7 countries, both police and army, in bringing peace and stability to those countries, and we fail to defend our own borders. It's not possible. It's not possible. We have the requisite skills, we have the training, we have the capacity, we have the resources, we have the will, most importantly, the will to protect ourselves. We are a united country, and we have protected our borders so far against attacks from within and from without. So we are capable of maintaining security, and I want to guarantee all Rwandans that security will be maintained. We shall continue progressing. These actors who are trying to destabilize our country will not succeed, because we are a united country, and we are a country that operates on principles and values, and we have succeeded so far in meeting our expectations and securing our borders.